We have spent the last three episodes talking about midlife, what it is, what's possible, the mindset that we need. But today, we are getting personal.
Today, we are sharing our own stories,
Yes.
the massive, uncomfortable, transformative journeys we have been on.
Mm. Because we know that reinvention isn't theoretical, it's real, and it's hard.
Welcome back to Midlife Unfiltered. I'm Jenny from Midlife Global Community, and this is Alice from Prime Midlife. In this episode, we are going to do something different. Up until now, we've been talking about midlife in general terms, concept, frameworks, perspectives. But today, we're going to share our own reinvention journeys. The real story behind why we do this work, what we went through to get here, and what we're still navigating.
Yes. And I think this actually really matters because it's easy to talk about transformation in abstract terms. But when you are in the middle of it, when you are the one questioning everything, making difficult changes, facing uncertainty, I know that it doesn't feel abstract at all. It feels terrifying. So, we want to share what it actually looked like for us, not the polished post transformation version, but the messy middle, like the doubts, the setbacks, the moments where we were not sure we were making the right choice. So, if you are going through something similar right now, we just want to let you know that you are not alone. So, Jenny, do you want me to start
Oh,
first?
yes, please do so.
Okay, let me share my story first. When I turned 40, I was in London and I had this vision of what my life was going to be. I loved my job and I was doing well, and my husband and I were planning to start a family. I could even picture it like kids running around this full, vibrant life, we were building together. But then I found out that actually I couldn't get pregnant naturally. Yeah. So, I mean, we tried IVF, but it didn't happen. And after that, my life was just like dominoes falling apart. First, I was made redundant with no compensation, and I joined another company, but 6 months later, the company went into liquidation. And I kept thinking, I must have hit bottom, and also kept thinking that it couldn't get worse. And guess what? My marriage ended.
Oh,
Yeah. So suddenly I was alone. I was alone in London, no family there. Yes, I have friends, but they're scattered and far away. So that's when I understood what rock bottom actually meant. How about you, Jenny? What's your story?
well, I grew up in a traditional Chinese family where the emphasis was often placed on sons, and daughters were expected to eventually marry into another family and take on another surname. This mindset shaped much of my early life. At just 17, I stepped into the working world far earlier than most, driven by responsibility rather than choice. Looking back, I'm deeply grateful that along my journey, I met kind and visionary bosses who believed in me and gave me the opportunities to grow in the corporate world.
Yeah.
Through those years, I built not just a career, but a net worth that became my true net worth. As a Singaporean Chinese woman, being a daughter, being a wife, being a daughter in law, and a mother of two, I was conditioned to always put everyone else first, my family, my children, my parents in law, my work, and my responsibility. I wore many hats, played many roles, and carried many expectations. But in doing so, I slowly lost touch with myself. Over time, I found myself emotionally and physically burnt out. This became even more profound as I began to experience the passing of relatives and friends, reminding me of life fragility. At the same time, I was going through perimenopause and menopause, a transition that left me feel lost, exhausted, and disconnected from my own body. I started to lose interest in things I once loved. Fear crept in, fear of aging, of irrelevance, of change. My energy was no longer what it used to be in my peak 30s. And for the first time, I truly felt the weight of time. That was my awakening. The moment I realized I could no longer keep living on autopilot.
Yeah, those are the tough time. I think sometimes the hard part is even wasn't what we would think. Like take me for example, back in those days, I had to find another job. I have to deal with the divorce proceedings, and there were chaos everywhere externally. But I still kind of like doing those things on autopilot. I guess what really destroyed me back then was that I had no idea who I was anymore. I felt like my soul has scattered into pieces and I was supposed to collect them one by one. But I didn't even know where to look. And I kept asking those questions that back then I had no answers, like what is love? How do companies can just discard people like this? And in fact, I took everything so personally. I convinced myself that I was the problem. That, if I had been good enough at my job, at my marriage, at life in general, none of this should have happened. My father actually asked if I wanted to move back to Asia to get closer to with the family, start fresh somewhere here. To be honest, I wanted to, but it's just that I couldn't bear the thought of going home like a wounded puppy that, I have failed everything. So I say no and stay in London and just try to figure out how to become whole again.
At least you're so strong. I don't think I would want to stay in London alone if I'm in your shoes. For me, I found myself on an emotional roller coaster, especially for the past 2 years. My mind spiraled into endless what if, fear of losing everything I've worked so hard for, everything I cherish could disappear from my hands. Almost overnight, my thoughts turned dark and narrow. I became consumed by fear and survival mode. There were moments when my thinking became deeply negative, even selfish, wondering if disappearing would be easier than carrying the weight of so many worries. That was when I slipped into a short term depression. I couldn't control my tears. I avoided people. I lost my appetite. Sleep became broken and restless. I would wake up 2 to 4 times every night, unable to fully rest. Over 8 months, I lost 12 kg without trying. My body was showing what my mind was going through. And I didn't realize that this was my mind and body asking for help.
Wow, those days really, really tough. And so, how did you work out from your darkness?
I didn't walk out of the darkness alone. My husband and our 2 teenagers became my quiet anchors. I'm deeply blessed. I may not have many best friends, but I have a few close ones who stayed, walked with me in the park, bringing me out of the house, gently passing me positive energy, just like Alice, and reminding me that the world was still kind. One moment that changed everything came from my younger son. He was only 13. He looked at me and said, Mommy, I know it's not easy for you now, but you're not alone. I don't need you to be perfect, like what you always said to me. I just want you to be happy and healthy. I need you. We need you, and your parents need you too. That moment, I realized how loved I was, how needed I was. I'm grateful for a very loving and supportive husband who stood by me even when I'm struggled to stand on my own. Slowly, I learned to turn my focus inwards. I learned that kindness must have boundaries, that strength includes asking for help. I began investing in myself again, signing up for courses and workshops, upgrading my skill set, rebuilding my career with AI and systems for my existing network. Most importantly, I committed to improving my own health and mental wellness. From that healing journey, the Midlife Global Community was born last year, a safe, empowering space for people who age 35 to 65 to embrace midlife together. Not perfect, not alone, just real, supported, and growing. Males and females.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think for me, it's the moment of enough. Enough feeling sorry for myself. And also, I'm a person that I always believe everything happens for a reason. So I did actually ask myself, what exactly am I supposed to learn from all these things? So that actually question that changed everything. I decided my mental health had to come first, not finding the next job, not managing the divorce perfectly, but actually healing. I tried many things that I call them tools like coaching, counseling, therapy, different healing modalities, reading, podcast, YouTube, gratitude, whatever you name it.
Wow.
And also through all of these different approach, I started seeing myself that, all the patterns that I never noticed before, like an emotional baggage that I've been carrying for years, like a childhood trauma that had been quietly shaping my life. So once actually I could see them, I could name them, everything became clearer. I started understanding what these situations had to teach me. I learned about forgiveness. I mean, forgiveness is hard during those times, but I actually learned how to forgive myself. I learned that external events, the events are not all about me. And, things could happen, and it's not always because I'm not good enough. And when I started seeing that, I started feeling like myself again. Of course, during those days, I was still in pain and my heart was still broken, but at least I felt human again, not just pieces scattered everywhere. So, Jenny, where are you right now?
Uh,
I think maybe I share first. Oh, yeah. Okay, for me, I run Primate Life, as everyone know that, actually this Primate Life evolved as I have evolved. And I really enjoy working with midlifers like you two, who are navigating, similar questions that we navigated. And that actually feels really meaningful. Of course, I'm still learning,
me
I'm still
too.
adjusting, and I'm still figuring things out. But I'm doing work that really matters to me with people I care about and, also align with who I am. So I guess that's what reinvention gave me. How about you?
Well, I love the four-leaf clover since I was young because it represents luck, love, faith, and hope. That belief never left me. Today, beyond Clover Enterprise managing B2B projects, Midlife Clover Community exists for midlifers and midlifepreneurs who want to embrace or reinvent their midlife journey. It is a space for growth, honesty, and becoming who we are meant to be in this chapter of life.
Yes, and I also learned that when it comes to midlife reinvention, we're talking about courage. But it's also lots of patience that we talk
So
about.
true.
Yeah, we cannot rush into transformation. We have to trust the process, even we might actually can't see the outcome yet. We have to be willing to live in the unknown for a while. And to be honest, we have to be kind to ourselves too, because this is hard work and we are going to make mistakes, and that is okay.
Exactly. Courage was the word I kept coming back to, reminding myself that there's had to be a better way. I learned to accept and let go, to unlearn and relearn, to understand what kindness must come with boundaries and dare to say no without guilt. That's what midlife taught me: clarity, courage, and compassion for myself.
That is wonderful. So, if you are in the middle of your own reinvention journey right now, here's what we want you to know. It's okay that it's hard. You are not doing it wrong. You are doing one of the bravest things a person can do in midlife. You are choosing to become who you actually are instead of who you thought you should be.
And you don't have to figure it all out by yourself.
Yeah,
You just have to take the next step and the next step. You're building something new while you're still standing in the old. Trust yourself, trust the process, and find your people, the ones who will support you through this.
that's very true. And we would love to hear your story. If you are going through a reinvention journey, leave a comment and share where you are in the process. What is challenging you? What breakthroughs have you had? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to keep going.
And if this resonates with you, share it with someone who navigating their own midlife transformation. Because the more we share our real stories, the less alone everyone feels. And that matters more than you know. See you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.